Hey, this is Brent Jensen, and you're listening to No Sleep Till Sudbury, the show where we talk about the music that makes your skin vibrate. This show is brought to you by Storyfora, the content agency providing promotional videos, podcast production, and all kinds of digital content that you can use to broadcast your brand to the world. Go to Storyfora, that's P-H-O-R-A, storyfora.com for details. And should you be looking for a realtor, look no further than my pal, Mr. Steve Fleming. He's my personal realtor. I would never use anybody else. Give Steve a call. You can find him at flemingproperties.com. Okay, today I am joined by one of country music's most compelling new voices. Bree Taylor combines the emotional directness of country music with a rough rock and roll grit. Now, she's been called a cross between Carrie Underwood and Joan Jett. Here to tell you more about her hot new single, Wake Up, is Bree Taylor. Bree, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. I know you're very busy. You've been out on the road this summer a fair bit, as I understand.
I have. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat. And yeah, we've been doing some fun summer shows, fun summer touring.
Awesome. Now, were you in Nashville earlier this year?
I was. I got to play CMA Fest beginning of June.
Brilliant. How was it?
It was amazing. It was such a great opportunity and so much fun, and a huge honor to be selected as one of few Canadian artists on the lineup. So it was great.
Definitely. Yeah. Did you get to do any songwriting down there at all?
I did. Actually got to meet an Australian artist that does kind of a country rock thing similar to me. He was in town. We got to write together, and I also got to write with my friend Ryan Sorstad, who's written a ton of music with me that's been released from what I've been putting out lately. And yeah, I love writing down there.
Awesome. Now, you've racked up more than 2 million streams across multiple platforms, and I imagine most of those were for the new single, Wake Up.
Yeah, it's been through quite a few of my latest singles that I've been putting out. They've all kind of collectively done fairly well. And I Regret You also did really well, which was the release before that. And yeah, it's been good.
You must be super excited.
Yeah, it's been awesome to kind of know that people are listening to the music and loving the songs. And, I always feel like that's a rewarding experience when you are able to see what people connect with on that level when you put a song baby out into the world. So it's nice to know that people are loving the stuff that I love.
That's a good metaphor. It's true, right? It's like having a child and putting it out there and, crossing your fingers. Yeah.
Totally, especially because what I'm doing is a little different, kind of different for country music. So you never know how that's going to be taken. And the fact that people are loving what I'm doing and that it's a little different is really good to know.
Now let's talk about that for a second. So you're doing a little something different. So they say like the emotional directness of country, but mixed with the kind of a rock and roll ethos, right?
Yeah. Basically, my background is very much a storyteller,
Mm-hmm.
which is very much the country roots in me. But I've always had such a diverse musical interest with genres. So I've never really felt like I fit into one specific genre. And I stayed out of country music for a really long time because I was told I wasn't like your typical country girl and I didn't fit the mold. And eventually I did try it and was trying to fit the mold, and that wasn't feeling authentic to me. And I wasn't putting out music that felt very me. And then finally just said, I'm not going to follow these molds and stereotypes and try to fit in what other people want me to. And my first single, Dauntless, that came out in early 2023, was me just kind of saying that this is who I am and kind of starting this new path of heading into a more alternative and rock direction with my music that kind of pulls into more who I am on a personal basis and my roots of being a more alternative rocker chick growing up. But I've always loved so much different music that it's just kind of, my interests are so diverse that I feel like it just pulls in all these different sounds and it's kind of all in one place. And people have been really liking that new direction, which I'm happy to hear and get the feedback.
That's perfect. Yeah, I think that that's a popular thing. People don't necessarily stick with one genre anymore. There's a lot of genre blending going on.
Definitely. And I think it's a good time for country music because they've been a little more open to that. I think Canada specifically is a little more behind than, the US has been with that. But I think in the next 1 to 2 years, I really see that country rock and that side of things are going to start to pull into Canada and start to grow over on this end of things. I think that it's just a little a little delayed, but it's not to say that I don't think it's still going to have its time. But I love that we're able to kind of blend some genres and kind of support all these different sounds and cultural influences in country music these days.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Now, your debut album drops in early October, and I myself am a big fan of the full length record. I always have been, but a lot of artists lately have opted to do EPs or just a continuation of singles. So, what made you decide on doing a full record, Bree?
Well, it's not really a full record. It is a collection of the current singles that I've been putting out
Mm.
with two new tracks. And we actually, I was just on a call before I was chatting with you, and we actually might be pushing it to next year now,
Oh,
just for some other stuff that's going on. So it's debatable if it's still going to come out in October. I was really hopeful that it would, but there's some stuff that's going on behind the scenes that we might have to push it to next year.
mm.
But yeah, that does give me time to maybe add some more songs to it. So you never know what could happen. It could lengthen the album even more. But as it stands, it's an 8-song album.
Okay. That's a full record these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So I have got your songs here. Thank you for sending them to me. The first one is a great segue into what we were talking about relative to genre blending, and it's Lakeview. Home Team is the
Yes.
song. Yeah. Tell me about
Had
this.
you heard it before I sent that in?
Yeah, I had. There's a lot of stuff going on in this one because it's got a country flavor, but it's almost there's some metal involved here, I think. I want to say.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually I discovered them on a random Spotify country rocks playlist that was like one of those AI, I guess, curated playlists for me in my Spotify account.
Hmm.
And it was a few years ago, and I was like, this stuff is so cool. Like I just love, like, they have some older material that's a little more country leaning,
Hmm.
but then they started really, like, they're a previous metal band, and they started leaning into those metal and harder rock roots that they have.
Yeah.
And when I heard Home Team, I was completely like a huge fan of theirs, Converted, which I think was actually one of their biggest singles from what I understand.
Hmm.
And then I ended up finding out that my mixing engineer, Jonathan Roach, is their producer.
Oh.
So when I was in the studio, I was like, oh my God, I found out that you're producing these guys and I love them. They sound phenomenal. And then it just opened up a whole line of more conversation about things and working with my music and kind of like really following in that direction with getting my stuff on a harder rock level, because that's something that I was really trying to do at the time. So it just really like was kind of a cool synergy and small world situation. And I just became a really big fan of theirs, and I've connected with them on social media. I met them a couple times down in Nashville, and they're great guys and they're doing great things, and they've just blown up the last, I'd say, 2 years especially. And it's so great to see their success and that their sound has been embraced by country music fans. And then they do cross over into that metal and rock worlds. They've got the metal and rock fans that are coming into this country world,
Hmm.
which is kind of what I've been told for years about my music, is like, I don't really love country music, but I do like what you're doing with country. So I
Mm.
really, when I started leaning into that, that's when I started seeing some success. So it's cool to know that like you're able to cross genres, but also bring those fans from other areas into those genres and bring new fans to country music and vice versa. So it's kind of cool to see that they've done that and been successful, and that's kind of given me hope. And that this is what I'm doing is great and going to be well received, and we've just continued to lean into that, and it's been going well. So it's good to know.
Good for you. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
agree. I think two guys from Pittsburgh, Lakeview. Is
Yep.
that right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, the working man is who they represent.
Oh yeah, this one's
I think
for
they
the
were
home team.
contractors. Yeah, they were like contractors, and that was like their day job back in the day, and what they've done to pay the bills, kind of thing. And so they really like identify with that blue collar life.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's Rust Belt stuff, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah. Next, we have the Chicks, Not Ready to Make Nice.
Yeah, that's the song that goes way back for me. It was a song that I listened to quite a bit, and that album was so impactful, like that movement of how powerful music was at the time.
Hmm.
They made a political statement that kind of was very controversial and got people burning their albums in the streets and cursing them and canceling them for all intents and purposes. And
Yeah.
that was like their comeback album from that era, and it went so well. And that song was such an impactful song. The music video, I loved the whole idea of them putting black paint and they can't get clean. And when I was younger, I was really working on my vocals, and my vocal coaches at the time had always told me that I was very much like a turtle in its shell hiding. I had this big voice that I almost was scared to come out of my shell and sing like that. And so my family friend at our cottage was like, you need to just keep singing this song, like. And I was like, no, it's too hard, I can't do it. I loved it, but, and I'd listened to it, but I was like, I was intimidated by it. And she's like, no, just do it. And she had me sing it like over and over and over again, and really work on my breathing and work on my belting of being able to sing that big chorus and that big bridge that's in the song. And eventually it got to be really easy for me and was a big training tool for me to train my vocals. Then eventually it started to become like a party trick song for me at shows, because people were like impressed with the fact that I could sing that. Because if you ask most vocalists, a lot of them will say that it's a very tough song, and they won't even try it, because of the run on the bridge. It's like quick, it's breath, there's not a lot of time to breathe, it's a lot of words you're getting out at once, and it's like fast paced. So it really does have an impact. So it's I actually have released my own version of it. I did a cover recording of it last year, I believe, and that is available on my socials. So it's there, and all the streaming platforms has it, and it's great to know that I have left my mark on that song in its own way now.
Yeah. How thankful are you that you were actually pushed to do that?
Very grateful. Yeah, it was good to have somebody who knew I could do it and believed in me and just pushed me to do it anyways and overcome the fear. So I actually teach vocals as well now, and I really try to pull that out of my students as well. So it's given me a lot of great character traits in and of itself too. So it's been good experience.
Good for you, paying it forward.
Thanks.
I like that.
Thanks.
Next song is near and dear to my heart. Tom Petty, Free Fallin'.
Yeah, that's a sentimental one for me. That's kind of been like my daddy-daughter song. My dad played that for me when I was a kid growing up, and I always, since I was really little, was saying like, that's going to be the song that's my daddy-daughter dance at my wedding. And I know that's kind of like probably a weird choice to pick, but it's just, I always felt like it was a dedicated song from my dad to me, the way that he'd always played it for us. And I love Tom Petty, and my dad was a huge influence with that, with all those kind of classics back in the day. So yeah, it's a really sentimental one for me.
That's great. Yeah, no, I don't think it's a weird choice. I think it's great. It's sentimentality doesn't really have any boundaries like that. I like that you picked that.
Thanks.
So is it going to, do you still have plans to, have that be a daddy-daughter song at the wedding one day?
One day, got to find me the man, but maybe we'll see. We'll see. No wedding on the horizon. So, but yes, I think that one day, hopefully, God willing, that'll all work out for everyone involved, and I'll have my moment with my dad.
Perfect. Very good. Amanda Marshall, this is a great pick. Fall from Grace.
Yeah, Amanda Marshall was a huge influence on me growing up. My mom was a huge Amanda Marshall fan, and I fell in love with her powerhouse vocals and how just unique and different she was for the time. And she's just such a presence and a force, and that really played into me becoming a vocalist, I think, as well. And that song just really brings me back to some really beautiful childhood memories. We lived in Peterborough for a chunk of time for my childhood. We also had a cottage out there for a long time. My grandparents were out there. My grandfather was in sports radio and retired on radio in Peterborough as well. So, every time we'd drive out there, I just always picture the fall turning leaves with all the turning colors and listening to Amanda Marshall on the radio or in my mom's CD player, which was CDs were big at the time. And and like that just really brings me back to some good childhood memories, but also just her vocal influence on me as well, because it's a great song. She's got some great music, and she's just a force.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when this came out in '95, and this was a big record. 7 singles from this record, I think. Yeah,
it was. Yeah, I think it was like her biggest hitting record with all of her music at the time, for sure. I think it was the peak of her career.
Yeah. Oh, certainly it was. Dark Horse was massive.
Oh yeah.
Mark Jordan, actually, I think he's got a co-write on this song. I don't know if you know who Mark Jordan is. He's been on the show. He's a brilliant songwriter. So
I don't know Mark.
MARC, good guy too, Canadian.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a fantastic record. Amanda Marshall recently made a reemergence, didn't she?
She did. Yeah, she's finally putting some music out. Yeah, she put a new album out, I think, last year.
Yeah.
or 2023.
Yeah.
Just in the last couple of years. But yeah, she didn't do anything for quite a long time. And I mean, the Amanda Marshall title track album and Tuesday's Child were like my two favorites, and they were just such great albums. And I still have, I think, the physical CDs somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think they've got to be around here too. I've got that CD somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So your next pick is an all-time classic. Tell me about the Eagles' Hotel California.
So that's another one from my dad. I grew up obsessed with that album and literally can remember taking it in grade 9 art class in my CD Walkman and listening to it on repeat. And it was one of the albums that I just carried around with me and listened to quite often. And my dad was a huge Eagles fan. And then one of my first trips ever to Nashville, we got to go to, I think it's Barbara Mandel's house. And it was I went with my dad on one of his work conferences, and I was my first time in Nashville, and we'd found out, I think it was Glenn Frey passed away at the time, and it was right when we were there, and it was a huge moment, and it was just like, there's just so many ties, and I was like, my dad was like, oh my God, like this is terrible, like this is a historic moment, and there was just so much history in that house at the time too. There's so many different like pieces of history around that place, and it was a really good memory. But just growing up listening to the Eagles, and Hotel California was something my dad was like, you need to listen to this song. He always like put musical respect into me, like, this is a piece of history, this song, you've got to respect this song.
I like
and
that.
So I remember him really he always was educating me on music. And when you're really little, you're like, ew, Dad, like that's not great, you don't like it. And then obviously as I got older, I was like, actually, yeah, I like it. And I'd steal his records. Like even to this day, I have vinyl of his that I've like snuck out of the house.
Oh,
that
wow.
he might one day he found out that he's like, where's all my vinyl? And I was like, oh, in my living room. And he came over and he took it all back. And I think I don't even know, I think I might have a couple that I didn't let him take, but that was a record that I had taken of his, and one of the CDs back in the day as well.
So great. You know what? Secretly, he was proud. I'll tell you
that. Oh yeah, he is for sure.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
Definitely.
Very good.
Thanks.
Great stories. Thank you. This has been fantastic. I love it, Bree. So now you are, as I said at the top of the show, you're on tour, right? You're playing a lot of gigs. So what's next gig wise for you?
Well, this weekend we have the Winona Peach Festival in Stony Creek on Saturday the 23rd, and then Sunday the 24th we're closing off the summer with the C&E. So I'm really excited about those. So it's a big weekend for us.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, and we'll see what happens with the debut record. Not early October anymore, but hopefully soon after that.
Yeah, we're thinking early February, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's not 100%, but we're just having some meetings this morning, and it might just make more sense to push it a little bit, just time of year wise and promotion wise for some marketing. But hopefully it goes over well and people like it. I'm excited for people to hear the title track of the album and some of the secret songs on there. So yeah, it'll be great when it does get out there.
Nice. Well, we're looking forward to it. That's great.
Thank you.
Bree, thank you very much. Stay on with me. I'm just going to wrap the show up. Stay on just 1 second.
Okay.
This has been No Sleep Till Sudbury with Brent Jensen and my special guest, Ms. Bree Taylor. Until next time, folks, take good care.
Brent Jensen is the best-selling author of No Sleep Till Sudbury, Leftover People, and All My Favorite People Are Broken. All titles available in stores and on Amazon worldwide.